Welcome back to the channel, guys. We are back in the UK to watch a sovereign citizen make a complete fool of himself when a bailiff turns up at his property to enforce a warrant for a traffic ticket. But our genius Sovsit has a few aces up his sleeve. Or is it just the Joker? Let's get into the video.
What warrant? Yeah, I know. I was just sitting here then.
Yeah, I left the letter the other day.
Right, who are you from?
I'm from Marston.
Perfect, right. So, this is about what exactly?
And you're not the lady I need to talk to, sir.
Well, it doesn't matter, this is my property, so...
Mate, I'm not trying to be difficult, honestly, I'm really not.
I'm not, I just want you to know that you're trespassing, your implied rights of access are gone, yeah? You've got no right being here.
Ah, the old removal of implied rights of access trick. This notice is perfectly fine for people who do not have the right in law to attend your property. Unfortunately, enforcement agents do under Section 14 of Schedule 12 of the Tribunals Court and Enforcement Act. So your notice is of no use and bailiffs know to just ignore it.
There's no contract, there's no claim, there's no obligation, okay? So you're acting illegally right now, you know that, don't you?
Yeah, it's all on camera, mate, that's fine.
Yeah, I've got it on camera too. I've got it on camera too, so...
You're saying things that I can and can't do.
Yeah. Well, you can't be on a private property without invitation. If your implied rights of access have been removed, you're trespassing. So if I say, get off my property, I'm going to fine you £5,000 in your personal capacity, I've got a right to do that. I've done it with JBW, and I've done it with one source. That's why they won't take any debts anymore. Now, the debt that you think that we're obligated to pay, yeah, there's no contract for that initial debt in the first place. So I thank your company for purchasing that debt, but it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because there's no contract, okay? Secondly, there's no contract between Marston's and Katie, okay? So until you provide that contract, you're acting unlawfully here. You know that, don't you? And illegally. Unless you get off the property, I will fine you £5,000, and I've got it on camera too. So it's your call.
And how would you enforce that £5,000 fine without a signed contract? Maybe you could employ Marston's, the company this enforcement agent works for, to collect the debt for you. See how your logic doesn't pass the smell test?
I'm posting a letter.
You can post that. I'd like to take this opportunity before you do to let you know it's £250 per item received as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Would you like to take the letter yourself, sir?
No, I don't want anything from you. I've got no business with you.
I'm just going to see that.
While you're making your company money, they will stand there and they'll support you, and that's great. But as soon as you bring a problem to their door, they'll back off and say you're acting on your own capacity. So, as long as you're aware of my terms and my conditions, and the fee schedule placed on my property, then you want to be careful not to be contracting with me, because it will come back to you.
Hang on, I thought you said you needed a signed contract for it to be legal. So all he needs to do is not put pen to paper on that £5,000 contract.
As long as you're aware. Why is that? Show me the warrant, because it's not a warrant, is it? What it is it's a printed document from a Northampton bulk centre. It has no name to it, no printed wet ink signature.
You're the occupant of the premises. I can show you the warrant. I'm allowed to show you the warrant.
Yeah, I live here, yeah.
Would you like to see it?
Yes, I would, because I know it's not legally binding. So
Okay, it's come from the Traffic Enforcement Office, sir.
I've got no business with them or with you. So
Okay,
it doesn't matter what.
Okay, so
It doesn't matter what you've got on your screen. It's not legally enforceable. You know that, don't you?
For the millionth time, there is no legal requirement for a warrant relating to a debt to have a wet ink signature. The warrant need not be on paper either. There was a judicial review about signatures on summonses, which was RV Brentford Justice's ex parte, Catley 1975 QB 455. In that case, Lord Chief Justice Widgery stated that it is perfectly proper for a signature to be rubber stamped. And Rule 101 of the Magistrates Court Rules 1981, as amended by the Magistrates Court Rules 2003, says in this rule where a signature is required on a form or warrant other than an arrest, remand or commitment warrant, an electronic signature incorporated into the document will satisfy this requirement. Of course, the recipient should satisfy themselves about the authenticity of the warrant. They can do this by contacting the court office by phone or in person to ask if the warrant was really issued there. But he won't do that, because reasons.
Listen, I don't want to cause you problems, but I don't want you getting into trouble either. And you're trespassing, you're causing distress. We've got vulnerable people living here, okay? I've told you you're trespassing. I told you I will fine you and issue a fine. You've touched my car. It's got nothing to do with you. It's not your property to touch. That can constitute vandalism. It doesn't matter what you got on your screen.
It doesn't matter what I'm recording though, sir. There was no vandalism.
I'm recording too. Well, yeah, you've touched something that don't belong to you. You've got no right to do that.
I'm a certified enforcement agent, sir.
Yeah, you're an enforcement agent. That means nothing. You work for a corporation. That means nothing. There is no contract or obligation between anyone at this household with your company, okay? There's no initial contract either with London Highways England or whatever it is.
So what's the relationship to K2?
I'm a partner, not that it's anything to do with you, but...
You just told me, sir.
Yeah, I told you I had goodwill. Because I'm trying to be polite, I'm trying to keep it polite.
I wouldn't call falsely accusing somebody of vandalism when all they did was touch your car, good-willed or very polite. But that's just me.
You're trying to keep it polite.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep it polite. You do know, an Englishman's home is his castle, you know that. If you're trespassing, we've got a right to use reasonable force. You're aware of that as well, are you?
Well, that might be the case had he turned up to your property without a warrant, but he did. So your king of the castle reasonable force defence would quickly turn into an assault charge.
Because I know you're an enforcement agent, but you're not aware of the law, are you?
Sir, really?
No, sir. You don't need to try and relay me. You need to be aware of your actions and what you're doing and the consequences of your actions. Because I've made it clear to you what my intentions will be. You'll be issued a fine for trespassing on my property. You don't think I'll go ahead with it? I will be sending an invoice.
I don't know why you're being like this when I've just come to the address.
Why I'm being like this? Because you've turned up to my address with no contract or proof of obligation. You're touching my car. It's got nothing to do with you.
The swear words are starting to come out. You're getting frustrated. Look, I understand.
Yeah, because you don't know.
You've implied a threat as well.
Implied a threat. I've made you aware of what your rights are, and you haven't got no rights to be in my property without authorization. You haven't got the correct documentation. You've got a little pretend warrant that isn't issued by a court. It isn't issued by a judge. It doesn't have a wet ink signature. There's no contract with me and your company, or my partner and your company. There's no obligation to pay you anything. You're aware of that, yeah?
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
Speak to your superiors if you're not sure, because otherwise it will come back on you.
And legend has it, this guy is still nervously hovering around his car waiting for the bailiffs to return with a tow truck. But I'm afraid that's it for this video. I will of course keep an eye on this channel, so please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates or future videos. Thanks again guys, take care, and I will catch you in the next one.